excited for our guest now. We all know how important it is to get out in nature for your physical health. And I tell you something, first day out of COVID restrictions, I can definitely agree with that one. As well as your mental health and well-being. The first of its kind, TreCare, is an app created by TreMap, designed to register every tree on Earth. And with us now is COO of TreMap, Richard Maxwell, to tell us more. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, before we go anywhere, can we talk about the name? Because we had a quick discussion briefly just now, didn't we? I wanted to know, is it TreMap? Is it TreMap?
Oh, it all depends on whether you're Cornish or not.
Yes, indeed. So
Yes.
give us a little explanation on that one.
Okay, so we are a platform that centers on trees. And so the vast majority of people who use our app and platform around the world read TRE and they say tree, which is quite okay with us. We're good with that. The reality is if you're here in Cornwall and you know about places like Tregothon and Tresillian and Tremor and Trillin and so on, you are going to say it TreMap. So we are proudly Cornish, and if you'd like to say TreMap, well done.
I like you already. I like you already. Although, one thing that's always got me is there's a local place near Varian, a little village called Tregony.
Yes.
But and you get a lot. The funny thing is, most people call it Tregony, even local Cornish people. But anybody who comes down on holiday call it Tregony, and I think they're more informed at that point, aren't they?
Well, if there's Trelawney, why is it not Tregony?
Exactly. Yeah. I used to argue through everything that it was Tregony, and when I realised, my life was a lie. Anyway, thank you very much for coming in. Could you tell us a little bit about TreMap? I'm going to go with the Cornish, of course. Where did this all start?
Okay, so our founder, Jonathan Jones, for years was chief gardener at Tregothon Estate, just up the road here. And in his process of curating the garden there, he discovered that there was quite a need for some kind of ability to digitally map trees and woody plants and then label them virtually. They had this really irritating high-maintenance problem of creating labels. Weather damaged the labels, people stole them, squirrels ate them, if you can believe that. Yeah. Maybe not completely ate them, but gnawed on them and ruined them. So he came up with a system of digitally mapping and then virtually labeling trees on your phone. So the intention was to create this phone-based, very, very simple app to do that job. So our app was born in that setting, right here in Cornwall, about a year ago, in fact.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, it's not, we're a startup, very much still starting up, but yeah. And since then we have developed that core functionality. We have an app on the app stores, Android and Apple. And it's functioning, it's working, it's the basic core app, it does work. But we're taking that functionality now and doing all kinds of interesting things with that to make mapping trees a thing.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It is, isn't it? It's quite a huge feat and quite a mission, I would say. And am I right, Richard, in saying this is the first sort of global map of every tree on Earth?
That's correct, yeah. We are aware of actually lots of platforms that map trees. I mean, tons of urban forestry management systems have tree mapping ability, and there are some other platforms out there, but none of them are actually global. That is something that's quite unique. It's just not done yet. The technology to map a tree and see it on your phone is not rocket science. It's not that hard. But to create a global database it's actually pretty cool. Like, it's just not been done yet.
I'm not going to lie, the developer in me right now is screaming, because I've got a web development background and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this seems like a really great project to get involved with and make work. But you've sort of hinted a little bit at why. Why do yourself and TreMap want to create this global database?
So we see a need for actually having trees geolocated and labeled. It makes us accountable for them. So there's a whole range of things like tree planting, carbon offset projects, all kinds of different initiatives. If the trees were actually mapped and visible virtually in some sort of interface, it makes us responsible. And so, secondly, why global particularly? There are lots of things that can be done from a scientific point of view if you have the information. And so this is a long-term project. I mean, there are 3 trillion trees out there, and so we have the audacious task of actually mapping all of them. Will we succeed? Probably not, but the idea is to get as many of those into a global database, and then you can do stuff with that data, big data. Mm-hmm. Secondly, we think it's actually a thing. If people are aware that I'm contributing to a global database, it will connect people emotionally and philosophically to trees. So rather than just some little neighborhood app that I'm connected with, hey, this is the global tree database that actually has some oomph behind it.
Makes it a bit more inviting to people as well, I suppose, if you think that it's literally everything.
Absolutely,
all trees.
yeah.
To me, that it makes me go, oh, actually, just out of pure interest, it's going to make me want to go on there. And I imagine once you get on there, it's going to hook people into thinking a bit differently.
Right. We see all kinds of social media possibilities too. Like, somebody in Cambodia can map their tree and put their picture on there and their little profile. Somebody off in Brazil can do the same thing, and they can connect with each other based on trees, which it has to be global to do that.
I don't want to take away anything from this, but in my head, all I got was, oh, it's Facebook for trees.
Well, actually, we're in discussions with somebody right now about making it a social media platform down the road.
Wow.
Cutting out all of the clutter
Yeah.
and the complications of social media platforms and just making it a really nice, slick social media platform as part of our package.
Fantastic.
Amazing. Now, it also sounds like, excuse the terrible pun about to come your way, there's a lot of growth in this app. I'd like to hear a bit more about the app and how it works. I know you said it's already sort of up and running and functioning. So can you tell us a little bit about how easy it is to use?
Yeah, so as I said, we have the core app actually on the app stores with its basic functionality. You can, look at a satellite image of your immediate surroundings on the phone. You see your trees on there, position the crosshairs, push the plus button, and it adds a tree, and you fill in the name of the tree, scientific name if you know it, the genus, family, whatever. Push the little tick mark, and you've logged a tree. So super easy. That is the philosophy of TreMap. We want to make this absolutely accessible to every man, woman, and child on Earth, not the domain of the skilled technician. One thing I should say is we have like a core app functionality, but we also want to then produce a sort of a suite of apps that do different things for different spheres, because we have aspirations to move into the botanical garden sphere. That's kind of the core reason for the app being to start with. We've been talking to orchards actually in the United States about mapping disease spread, which is really cool.
Wow.
City councils and town councils as a community TreCare app. So there's different branches and different directions we're going to go. So we're going to take that core app functionality and produce super easy to use apps for those different spheres.
Quite a little sort of side question here. I can imagine this is going to help take more accountability of what's happening to trees now, because we don't. It's one of those things you don't see anything happening. You hear about deforestation, that kind of thing, but you don't see much about it. So you don't worry about it. With this app, you will see it and you go, "Who's doing that? Why are they doing that? Should they be doing that?" Absolutely,
yeah. I was talking to somebody recently, and they got a grant from the Woodland Trust to plant trees, which they did do, and they were honourable. And the guy came recently after 5 years for an audit to look at his trees, and indeed he's got trees. Well done. But in the course of conversation, he said, "You wouldn't believe how many times we go and look for the trees, and there's a car park there."
Oh.
The public funds just disappeared, and nobody did plant trees, or if they did, they died, and they decided that it wasn't worth it anyway. We want to provide accountability and transparency and map trees, yep.
So the features that are on the app, you've mentioned obviously locating trees, uploading photos, finding information on specific trees. What information is actually going to be there on these trees?
So specifically about the TreCare app that we're marketing with Falmouth Town Council as a kind of a pilot project, which I want to say we were going to take to other councils quite soon. In that app, we will have the set of TPOs, which for the uninitiated means tree preservation order. So councils maintain these things, and yes, you can find them online if you go digging, but we want people to be able to pull out their phone. They see the neighbor cutting down a tree and they think, is he allowed to do that? And they pull out their phone and they see, oh, wait a minute, this tree has a TPO on it. You're not allowed to do that. And they can report it right in app to the council. Or they look online and say, oh, it's just a tree. It's a nice tree, but it's just a tree. And actually there's no legal basis for protecting it. So we will have the TPO data set in our app for Cornwall, for Falmouth area. Also, just recently, we have been very, very nicely given access to the Ancient Tree Inventory, which is a database of 180,000 ancient, notable and veteran trees around the UK.
Wow.
So this is really cool information. It's a huge mammoth work that's been going on for a decade or more. And they've given us permission to actually put that into our app. So in your neighborhood, you can pull out your phone and you can see, this tree is actually classified in the ATI as a valuable tree. Don't touch it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. We also will have the function for reporting damage. So, Eunice went through recently, and I think in Plymouth Council next door here alone, there were like 200 cases of tree falling or limb damage. It took weeks to clean up.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So what we envision is our app as a kind of citizens reporting app. So, a tree fell over on the street in front of you, pull out your phone, geoposition it, click, put a little icon there, and it gets sent to the council saying, right here in this spot, there's a tree down. Take a picture of it. What a great way to involve the community in caring for trees. What a great way to save the overhead for councils in sending out officers to look for this all.
Actually, yeah, absolutely.
Great real-time reporting.
In this day and age as well, with money as tight as it is, absolutely brilliant.
Yep.
Now, as well as Cornwall Council, you've actually received support from the Eden Project, the Cornwall International Male Choral Festival, as well. And it must feel wonderful to have these kinds of groups and companies support.
It is. It's great. We are pleased for both of those. So Eden Project actually is developing with us our app called TreeBG for botanical gardens. That's a whole other subject, which I won't go into, but just the fact that Eden has come on board, it's a tremendous vote of confidence, and we're really pleased with that. The Cornwall International Male Choral Festival is really cool. They, probably some of our viewers will know, there's a festival coming up at the end of April, and they have thousands of choristers coming from around the world, and they have agreed to sponsor the planting of 1,000 trees to offset the carbon cost of those people coming, which I think is kind of innovative. Like, who does that? Like, good idea.
Very, very good.
But more than that, actually, they're going to use our TreCare app and map those trees so that they have some accountability. Like, yes, we have this program, but here are the trees right in a satellite imagery picture of where they are. And thirdly, what's really cool about this is that we are going to attach the identities of the choirs to those trees in our app. So, you can click on a tree that's been sponsored by CIMCF, and it brings up the Voces 8 or Only Men Allowed or the Canadian Boy Choir, whoever it is, and get a picture of the choir, and it makes it relevant, and it invests people in the trees. So
this whole thing feels very wholesome. I love that about it. And obviously I've mentioned the Cornwall Male Choral Festival, because we've actually got a video from them to tell us a little bit more.
Hello, my name's Gareth Churcher and I'm Festival Artistic Director for the Cornwall International Male Choral Festival, a biennial festival that sees thousands of choristers visiting Cornwall every 2 years. This year our festival's running from the 28th of April to the 2nd of May. We're absolutely delighted to be partnering with TreCare to provide 1,000 trees planted and evidenced as a way of offsetting our carbon footprint. We're excited to be partnering with TreCare and this wonderful initiative, as we are conscious that bringing many, many people to Cornwall over the festival weekend has an impact on the environment. This initiative allows us to demonstrate and evidence how we're offsetting our carbon footprint. To give it lasting legacy, we will be allocating the names of our visiting choirs from the UK and across from overseas to those trees so that they can also have a evidence base to show that they were also contributing to the offsetting of the impact, the environmental impact of them visiting our beautiful county. We see this as a fantastic initiative in partnering with TreCare, something that is very, very new, and we believe we're the first festival to be doing such a thing, and we're delighted that it also gives us the ability to show our commitment to the environment through an evidence-based mapping of the trees that we're supporting. So please visit the Aviva crowdfunding page, where you'll find many, many rewards for pledging support. We're offering up a quantity of tickets for pledges of £100, which will see you visiting the Hall for Cornwall, witnessing some brilliant vocal singing, but most importantly, supporting this amazing initiative. Why not every man, every man, why not every man?
Fantastic. Love that. That was a great little video there.
Absolutely.
Richard, it does seem that TreCare does seem to be sort of for the communities. When would you expect somebody to use the app?
So there's going to be a couple different ways that we're going to promote this. So on the town council sites and their media channels, social media and so on, we will promote this once it's ready later on this year. So people will become aware of what you can do with it. Why would I want this? What can you do? Aside from that, there are 4 green spaces in Falmouth, the 4 parks basically. And we are going to map all of those trees. They're all different species. It's actually a really cool collection. Darwin arrived right here in Falmouth before he set off up country. And so Falmouth has got quite a prominence in the horticultural world because of that. And there's all kinds of interesting species in their green spaces. We're going to map them, add some pictures, some little stories about them, some content. And then we're going to put some signs at the entrances to those green spaces so that the public can walk in and see, oh, you can download an app and get the whole story. And I think that's going to be a really good way to engage the public and get them aware of TreCare. The other features of it, like reporting damage and looking up TPOs and stuff, that will come in due course. But we want to make it publicly available in the green spaces and use that as a vehicle to deliver the idea.
Fantastic. Now, you're raising funds for development through Aviva. Give us a little plug. How can people support you?
Oh, absolutely. We are welcoming funding there from all different sources. But yes, we are running a crowdfunder campaign at the moment with Aviva Community Fund. The link was in that video there, but if you missed it, it's avivacommunityfund.co.uk/p/TreCare. And so have a look there. People can, there's all different levels of pledging, and there's some really cool rewards on there. Some of them actually let people contribute to the development of the app. That's something we really want to do, is open up the app development to the community. We don't just want to be a software company that sells stuff. We want to connect with people. That's the whole idea, is connecting people with trees. And so things like, we're going to run a competition, I think, for designing the icons in the app for the school kids around Falmouth area.
Brilliant.
And there's going to be an art competition likely in a few months' time, and the winners will get their works put in the startup screen of the app, for example. And in the crowdfunder campaign itself, there are some things that you can pledge, some amounts you can pledge for, and we will give you access to the design process in the app development.
Brilliant. I love that. It does really sound like a real community project, and just getting people involved. It's fantastic. And we want to give you the opportunity, Richard, as well. We want to drive people to your website. We understand you've got a nice shiny new website.
Ooh.
If you want to promote that.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a look. Yeah, we had a website for a while which was working for us. It was okay. It was pitched to investors, which for that stage of our existence was just right. We now have a product mix, like a suite of apps and some things that actually are working on the app stores. So for more information, look at the site. It'll tell you actually what do you do with this app. When I first came to TreMap last year, I said to Jonathan, the founder, like, oh, this is cool, like you can map a tree, but now what? What do you do with it? Why would I want to map a tree? And I'm converted, I must say. So look at that site. There's 4 or 5 different app suites there you can look at, and it gives you an idea of what you do with it. So the site is brand new, just as of this week, and it does present TreMap in a much clearer light, I think.
Fantastic. Oh, Richard, thank you so much for coming in to speak with us today. Before we move on, just had a couple of messages in actually from Hannah and Dave from the Cornwall Weather team, who I believe you've had dealings with before.
Yes.
Sending in their best, love the stuff that you do. And basically, if they basically said keep in touch. Yeah,
we just a really quick plug on that. We have talked to them about integrating storm alerts into our app, so that, if Eunice is going to come again in some other name, our app will actually alert the community, hey, look out, and in a day or two time, start reporting fallen trees. And so that's where Cornwall Weather Team comes in. We've talked to them about integrating into our app.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Lovely job. Well, thank you very much again, Richard. All the best with the campaign. And we'd love to have you in again, definitely, for an update soon, if you would like to.
We'd gladly do that, yeah.
Fantastic. Just as we go now, we're going to leave you with a video from TreCare with more information right now.
I'm Richard Maxwell, COO for TreMap.
We're a tech startup based in St Austell, Cornwall, and we make apps that help people care for trees.
Over the last 12 months, we've successfully developed our basic TreMap app. Users can geolocate trees, upload photos of them, add digital label information, save them to our global tree database, and then view those trees on a map right on their phones. It's tested, it's working. There are Apple and Android versions on the app stores. Our first early adopters have purchased our platform and are using it. Eden Project has just begun using our app to map their living landscape collections. So we're confident that our idea is going to go places. In fact, it's already well on the way. But now we want to take our core app and create some really useful tools that people out in the community will actually use to take care of trees. Lots of people in the community do care about trees. They'd love to know more about them, what species they are, their history, where they came from. Our TreCare app will give people the tools to know what's going on and to contribute to TreCare, to get involved and actually do something to help. There are lots of urban forestry management systems. None of these complex platforms actually let citizens out in the community participate and cooperate with the councils in caring for the trees in their neighbourhoods. We see TreCare as a bridge between councils and the community, a crossover, an app that lets these two work together and really get people engaged in caring for trees. Our TreCare app will let citizens in the community know which trees in their neighbourhood are protected under tree preservation orders. It'll let them quickly look up to see if a tree is an ancient, veteran or notable tree. TreCare will make that whole set of information available right in a person's phone on an easily accessible map. TreCare will also let the council give volunteer groups like tree champions the tools to be able to submit TPOs and tree evaluation reports automatically from within the app, paperlessly, directly to the tree wardens. It'll let citizens report to the council if they spot disease on a tree, like ash dieback, or if they feel a tree is a risk to people or property or overhead wires. We envision TreCare as a kind of citizens portal or a way for the councils to let people know what the council has planned as far as maintenance.
Hi, I'm Simon Penner, I'm the grounds manager for Falmouth Town Council, and I want to introduce you to the TreCare app. This is a product that's being developed to help citizens in your parishes report incidents with trees, to monitor works being carried out on trees, and if you have tree wardens within your parishes and towns, then it will help the tree wardens store and process information, and that information will then be available to the public. The TreCare app will give a valuable education tool to the residents in your communities. It'll inform them about types of trees. In these days of heightened awareness of trees, it will give them information which will be educational and fun for children as well. It will have the ability for children to use it to find different tree species and collect information which will gain them points and levels.
One of TreCare's features that we're really excited about is the enhancement to the visitor experience in parks and gardens.
So the TreCare app will give you a map when you enter one of our parks, and you'll be able to click on a tree marker on that, and it will give you all the details about the tree that you're standing next to. It'll give you its approximate age, where it came from, whether it's native to this country or what country it did come from. It will give you information about what it looks like throughout the seasons. Yeah, I can see it being very useful for schools, yeah.
We believe there's a definite need for an app like TreCare. We believe it's going to change how people feel about trees. It's going to help create emotional connections between people and trees. It'll give people a tangible way to care.
So we'd like to invite you to join us in our crowdfunding campaign and pledge to help us develop the app. We find that the crowdfunding idea fits exactly the spirit of our app, because TreCare is an app by the people, for the people, and we want to involve the community in the design and development of the app. And please do join us in developing TreCare, the app that lets us care for trees.
Fantastic stuff. What an amazing chap. What a lovely chap, and what a great sort of design and sort of point he's trying to make, really. It's fantastic. Oh, I cannot hear Ross anywhere. There he is.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, my friend. Well, what do you think about that? Fantastic, eh?
Fantastic. It just makes me want to go and hug a tree, I'm not going to lie.
It's not a phrase I ever thought I'd hear you say, Ross. Absolutely brilliant there. Richard Maxwell of TreMap. Fingers crossed everything continues going well.